Bueno, estamos acá en Brooklyn, Greenpoint, en Nueva York, con la banda Colatura. Le agradecemos a ellos por ser la primera banda que va a ser parte de este ciclo de entrevistas que vamos a empezar a hacer en dreampop. Así que estamos súper contentos de que nos hayan recibido en esta maravillosa casa. Acá está Diego, Meredith, and Janica. Así que thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. So I have some questions here. First of all, how did you guys meet?
It's kind of funny because it happened in like two stages. So Janik and I, we worked together at a restaurant, and she was my boss. And over the year that we worked together, I slowly convinced her that like we should quit working in restaurants and join a band together. And so we did. And I didn't realize we like had very different tastes in music. So like it took us a few years to like put out singles, throw things against the wall, and be like, I don't know what we should sound like. What are we doing here? And then we kind of started zoning in on it right when we met Meredith, who originally was going to join as the drummer. Oh. And then she sent us a demo of her singing and playing piano, and we're like, we're not hiding you behind the drum kit. And then we just, that like kind of like lined up with like everything shutting down, and we kind of had an opportunity to kind of go in the studio and like write a bunch of songs, and we all kind of just wrote together and really kind of like honed in our sound, and it was really cool.
How did you come up with the name? It's interesting, in Spanish especially.
It's actually an ingredient that was used a lot in the restaurant that we met in. Colatura is a fish oil, like an anchovy oil, that the chef used a lot instead of salt. And so when we were looking for band names, we wanted something that was not already taken, which is surprisingly hard. And we wanted something that, I don't know, we thought it's an Italian ingredient, and we thought that no one would know what it was. And we were like, oh, they'll just associate us with it. But I guess we like underestimated how many people know what it is.
Yeah, it's like mayonnaise in Italy. So.
Right.
And I feel like also the fact that her parents are opera singers, and in opera, there's like a way of singing called Colatura, and so we love like the idea of like kind of like our background of how we met.
So last week you had a great show at Sultan Room.
Yeah.
How was it? How was the gig?
It was great. We had like it was basically like all of our friends that we've met over the last few years from the scene there. Everyone that we've like played shows with. It was just like it felt like a high school reunion or something.
Yeah.
What's your earliest significant music memory that has influenced you as an artist or musician?
For me, I was like, my dad was like a gardener and a landscaper, and I used to ride around in the truck with him when I was a kid, and he was really into reggae, like all kinds of reggae. I just like the rhythms and like the vocal melodies and everything. I just remember just like it really like embedding in me, like kind of when I first understood like, oh, music is more than just like sounds, you know. Like it's like it like can like make you feel things, and like that's the true power of it. And I remember riding in the truck with my dad, just like as he was like, you know, doing all these errands and stuff like that, and just like, you know, loving it. Really
cool. What about you?
For me, it's hard. I grew up in such a musical family. Both of my parents are opera singers, and my grandmother on one side is an opera singer, and my grandmother on the other side is a piano teacher / pianist.
Wow.
So it's like hard for me to really think about what was the first one. Apparently I don't remember this obviously, but apparently the first experience I had with music was in the delivery room. I was a C-section, so they took me out of my mom and handed me to my dad, and my dad sang an entire aria to me in the delivery room. A lot of videos of me like lining all of my stuffed animals up and having one of my parents like opera scores and conducting them. But I think my first like non-classical thing was when I was like first or second grade. I discovered the Beatles, and it was like that was the first thing I had heard that wasn't classical music, and I like devoured every single album. And I think that's maybe part of why I'm so drawn to the idea of having a band that has multiple songwriters and singers as well. Just because that was like the first experience of rock music that I was like, oh yeah, this is what bands are. They have everyone in it is like really involved. So.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, my relationship with music has, growing up, it was like always just like in church related. Like it was always like my mom grew up Irish Catholic, and we went to church every Sunday. Every day we were very devout.
Oh, really?
No, and so I just grew up like my earliest like music memories are like hearing my mom. My mom is a really talented singer as well, and I always used to like stand next to her in church and hear her like harmonizing with the. Like, she would never sing the main melody for some reason. She was always singing the harmony. So I feel like it just, like, got in my head at an early age, like, what that sounded like. And I would, like, copy her and stuff. That and, like, we would always sing, whenever we would visit my grandparents, my mom always made me play piano while we sang these, like, Irish folk songs.
So let's talk about the record, and then I'll be happy. Yeah? Amazing name. I was, like, amazed by the name. It's like,
Thanks.
It's like you're getting to a place to to get there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm very interested about the process of recording and and come up with a record as a musician.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some info?
Well, it was long. It was a long process. Also, because Janik and I come from like that's what we do for a living is recording and mixing and mastering. So like knowing how much of like yourself to like do yourself and how much to like get people from the outside, so you're not so like enclosed in this like small world. So we found this producer Charles Mueller who was just like amazing at being able to just like always read the scenario and like know exactly what we needed and like fill that role. And then just the songwriting process in general throughout all of it was just like super collaborative, one of the more collaborative songwriting processes I've ever been in, where we would just like help each other with lyrics, get kind of stuck on a song, send it to somebody else, have them work on it. It was very like, let's just try and make these the best we can and try and like not be too, closed-minded, just like be open to kind of like exploring it, and everyone was. It was cool.
So did you guys participate in the mix also?
Yeah, I mixed it.
Oh, you mixed it?
I mixed it. So after we recorded it, and we tracked a lot of it at our studio too. So it was like, we did it some at our producer's studio, who also has like kind of a production studio like us. And then we rented a few like commercial studios to do drums, to do vocals. We went up to Connecticut and stayed the night at a studio and like tracked all the vocals in a few days. Nice. And then took it back to our place, and I, with Jennifer's help, mixed it took us like a month. We were very
I was thinking about there's a lot of expectation for the first record usually, right? Was it like that for you guys? Like, we need to, I don't know, some bands like think that with the first record they're gonna make it, or they're gonna get there, whatever.
I didn't feel personally for me, because I felt like there was no expectations.
Okay.
There was no like, I imagine bands that like have a lot of like press and stuff like that behind them, or they're signed to a label and they have all this like pressure. But for us, I felt like if it does poorly, then like nobody cares. So like if it does well, then that's great. I always feel like the second album, because then there's like, if the first album did well, then there's like expectations. People always say that you take your whole life to write your first album. It's like, all these melodies that maybe you wrote a decade ago or whatever, concepts, ideas, and then like it does well, and then you have to write a second album in like 6 months. And so I feel like that's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I was more excited about doing it because we had been talking about doing it for a while and just hadn't really had the time, and then the pandemic afforded us time to do it because we like weren't allowed to be doing anything else outside of the house. So I think it was really nice when Meredith first joined the band. The stuff we were releasing had mostly been written before, and then we wrote like a handful of songs before the pandemic that we were just sort of starting to write stuff together. But this was like the first opportunity for us to like really write something that like felt that it was all of us as a band, because she joined and she was like fit perfectly in, and we loved having her there, but it wasn't really like her voice was represented in the songwriting process at first. So it was exciting for me to be like, okay, this is our band. We decided that we're doing this thing together, and this is our opportunity to like actually really make sure that everyone's voice is equally represented. So I was really excited about that. Plus Meredith is a really good songwriter, so it was really nice to have her like, I don't know, her melodies are amazing.
I never had imagined that I would write anything for the band. I was just supposed to do like backing vocals and hang out.
Okay.
But then it just sort of happened, which is like feels like the right way for it to happen. Where it was like, I just started writing songs because they were writing songs, and I was like, well, I want to write songs, and then it was like, well, what are you gonna do with the songs? Like, I guess we can use them for the band. So it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it was more like we were like, oh, that song's great, we're taking it.
It's ours now.
So what's in the horizon for the band for this year, for the next year? I know that you have a show coming up.
Yeah.
We're playing our
May
next show
30th?
May 30th. Yeah, our next show is at Mercury Lounge with this band from Brattleboro, Vermont. Moxie, that's really cool that we're excited to play with. We're doing 2 tours. We're doing
You're blocking the shot. Get out of there. It's very be on this camera.
Anyway, so we're doing 2 tours. We're doing the East Coast and sort of like looping up to
Nice.
through Ohio
Okay.
in June, and then in August we're doing a West Coast, flying into LA, going down, hitting San Diego, and then driving up the coast and ending in Seattle. We're also going to Chicago in July, so we've got a lot of like shows, touring. We're excited. South by Southwest was our first time playing a show outside of New York.
Yeah.
And then we did like a one-off show in Philly. So this is going to be our first time like really exploring markets that aren't New York.
Mm-hmm. It's really easy in New York to like, there's so many venues here and other bands.
Yeah.
And like a culture of like playing a show every week that you're like, you like forget that like you should play outside of New York too. So I think it's been really exciting playing out and like seeing fans and people outside of like the scene here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
We also, I think we're trying to release either 1 or 2 singles over the summer that like we're kind of like in the works of writing, and maybe get like another like artist
From the record? Or
No,
new
like a
singles?
new single.
No,
Yeah.
new stuff.
Just keep
We're
it
all-
coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We've spent so much time like promoting the record and making like music videos and content for it that I think we're all really excited to like get
Right.
back to writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Get it. Great. Okay, so that's about it. Thank you guys for this time, for this interview. I'm very excited to see you guys in May.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is like a free 3 minutes to invite your people in Latin America.
Obviously, we would love for you to listen to it.
Listen to the album
record.
in consecutive order.
Yeah,
In
Social
order,
media?
yeah. We put a lot of thought into the order, like
Yeah.
the arc of it, both sonically and sort of emotionally. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen to the record. Follow us on Instagram at Colatura. And then that's when you put the text on that tells you how to spell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want the real like the real side of Colatura, you can check us out on TikTok.
You can find us on TikTok. Oh,
I don't
follow
think
us on-
that's the real.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. I've been doing the tweeting lately.
Yeah.
It's kind of chaotic.
Meredith's. Yeah.
And if you're in Chile and you're in a like a band similar to ours, you should send us a message. We'd love to come play there. We'd love to hang out. We'd love to see what the scene's about. I feel like
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely it's gonna happen. I believe.
We also have really pretty vinyl, although we're running low on the
The
on the
green.
green one. So
Yeah, we got some merch. We got t-shirts. I just made tote bags.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks, Carlos.
Sigan conectados a estas entrevistas para dreampop. Vamos a hacerlas regularmente con bandas de la ciudad de Nueva York. Así que muchas gracias por sintonizar. Bye.
bye.
We both.